into its final 2 weeks. It's going to be crazy busy over the next weeks. You know, here I'm always here to update you on absolutely everything. So you can like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, because we are here together every single day to keep you updated. Talking about the latest of the day, let me start with a crazy drama around 𝐁�ឋ Suzuki, the Japanese goalkeeper from Parma and from the Japanese national team at the World Cup as well, because he was about to become a new Paris Saint-Germain player. But this is the market sometimes. Deal agreed, deal done, documents exchanged between Parma and Paris Saint-Germain. Imagine that Paris Saint-Germain have sent a private flight to Parma on yesterday morning, to fly 𝐁�ឋ Suzuki to Paris at night, and then medical test, contract signing, official statement, official presentation in the next days. So everything was ready for PSG to welcome their new goalkeeper and then assess the best solution possible for Suzuki to be the backup for Safonov, the current starting goalkeeper for Luis Enrique. But what happened? There were issues between 𝐁𝐼 Suzuki camp and Paris Saint-Germain. RMC Sport in France report about big request for commissions. And so the deal collapsed. Despite being done and despite having a private flight on the way in order to bring Suzuki to Paris Saint-Germain, deal off. And now Aston Villa, after deal collapsed with Paris Saint-Germain, entering very strong the deal for 𝐁𝐼 Suzuki. Aston Villa have contacted Parma. Aston Villa have guaranteed Parma that they are ready to pay what Paris Saint-Germain were paying, so 30 million euros plus 5 in advance, and they are ready to give the player what he wants. So deal underway for 𝐁𝐼 Suzuki to Aston Villa, with a big surprise on the market. In Paris, who's arrived and who signed the contract, will wear number 22 and signed a 5-year deal, is Mika Götze. A special day for Paris Saint-Germain, Saturday, because they opened the day with Ferran Torres arriving, and they closed the deal also for Mika Götze, with the announcement of Mika Götze closing the day for Paris Saint-Germain. So Ferran Torres, Mika Götze, Magnus Akliush, all the deals are done, official and completed, and PSG complete their team up front. Now it's important to understand about Barcola to Liverpool and the situation also of Ibrahim Mbaye, who also can leave the club in the final weeks of the summer transfer window. So for Paris Saint-Germain, good news on Götze, bad news on 𝐁𝐼 Suzuki. Barcelona, the other club to watch for sure in the next days. First of all, 𝐁𝐿 Cancelo. For 𝐁𝐿 Cancelo, there is a active conversation ongoing between 𝐁𝐿 Cancelo, the agents of the player, and Al Hilal in order to reach an agreement on the contract termination. Cancelo has only 1 year left on his contract at Al Hilal, and Cancelo only wants to go to Barcelona. So Al Hilal and 𝐁𝐿 Cancelo are discussing the contract termination for the fullback. As soon as they reach the agreement, Barcelona will be ready to complete the deal with Cancelo in terms of contract, documents, and all the rest. So 𝐁𝐿 Cancelo expected to be a Barca player, no doubts on that. Talking about 𝐁𝐿 Cancelo, the agreement with the player is done, and also in terms of timing, important. The beginning of next week could be important. The hope internally at Barcelona is not a guarantee at the moment, because nothing is booked yet or completed. But Barcelona hope in the next 48 hours to have everything completed between Cancelo and Al Hilal, and then they can fly Cancelo to Barcelona for his third chapter at Barca. He was already there at the beginning, then he returned on loan in January, and now would be part 3 for 𝐁𝐿 Cancelo and Barcelona. Barca remain absolutely confident on Rodri. The expectation at Barca remains very optimistic. They presented a third proposal. There is an active conversation with Manchester City. Guys, I think the crucial part of the story, for those who don't understand why the deal is not done yet, the crucial part of the story is Rodri himself. Rodri is not a normal player. Rodri is Rodri. He's a legend of the game. He's a Manchester City legend today, tomorrow, yesterday, and forever. He's a player who won the Champions League, who won the Premier League several times, who won every single trophy in England, who won the Ballon d'Or, who won the World Cup, best player of the World Cup, Euros. Rodri completed football. And so, especially for Manchester City, he's a symbol. Rodri is a symbol, is the face of Manchester City. And so when a player like him decides to go with 1 year left on his contract, Manchester City understand that the player wants to go, and Manchester City are expected to be respectful. Then Manchester City must be respected as well, because Manchester City want to get their money. And so the conversation is ongoing with Barcelona, but the expectation is absolutely positive. So stay patient on this one, but Rodri to Barca is underway. Then Enzo Fernandez. I can confirm to you tonight that Manchester City are yet to give up on Enzo. But it's going to be important financially, guys, to understand what's going to happen. Because I told you that from Friday, the deadline for Enzo Fernandez is now off. So the deadline has expired. What does it mean? It means that until the deadline, Man City or any other club had the chance to sign Enzo Fernandez for £120 million. No need for negotiations. Like a release clause. Put the money, get the player. That's it. No meetings, no talks, no first bid, second bid, third bid, the payment structure. Everything clear. Pay, go. Now, with this verbal clause off, the negotiations would be needed, and Chelsea are in total control of the situation. But my understanding is that Man City are yet to give up on Enzo Fernandez. Man City are still calling, Man City are still trying to understand if there is a way. So, as of today, I would not call the deal off. It's for sure more complicated, but it's not off. So, let's follow the situation. Then, Pedro Neto is another player appreciated by Manchester City, but at the moment, Manchester City believe that the valuation made by Chelsea for Pedro Neto is way too high, and so Pedro Neto to Manchester City at the moment is complicated by this. Manchester City spoke to the agent of Pedro Neto, but Manchester City are not advancing because of this reason. The valuation made by Chelsea is considered too high. For Pedro Neto, I would keep an eye on two solutions. The first one, the most likely, could be Al Hilal, because Al Hilal are about to say goodbye to Malcolm. He scored over the weekend, but is expected to go in the next hours to another Saudi club, Al Diriyah. And so Pedro Neto is a target for Al Hilal, for sure. And then another possibility is Tottenham, but for Tottenham, I keep telling you guys, Savinho and Gakpo, Gakpo and Savinho, Savinho and Gakpo, plus a center striker. So this is the idea at Tottenham. So Pedro Neto is a backup. In case something happens for Savinho, something happens for Gakpo, Pedro Neto is a backup, but is not the top priority. That's important to clarify. And then, just to finish this video, guys, and to confirm something to you, Luis Suarez and Barcelona. I can 100% confirm that Barca got information on the player, that Barca called to understand the case of the Colombian striker, but I can also confirm to you that the final decision made by Deco internally at Barcelona is not to proceed for Luis Suarez for the release clause. So if Sporting keep asking, as they are, 80 million euros the release clause for Luis Suarez, Barca are not proceeding. Barca are not going to pay the release clause for Luis Suarez, that's for sure. So, or conditions change, or we can consider this file as of today off. So, let's